Run inside! Mama Nukwu is coming! The shout cut through the evening like a whip. Two little boys dropped the tire they were rolling and scrambled into the nearest compound, slippers slapping the ground. A woman drawing water from the well froze, eyes shifting to the narrow path leading into Okija. There she was. Mama Nukwu walked slowly, each step measured, her old wrapper brushing the dust. Her head tie sat low, almost covering one eye, and in her right hand she held a short, crooked staff that knocked the earth as she moved. She didn't greet. She didn't smile. She just walked. "Close the door," the woman at the well whispered. "Chidera, come inside now." "I'm coming, Mummy," a girl answered, running in with her bucket. "Is she a witch?" she added in a low voice. "Don't say that where she can hear you," her mother snapped, heart pounding. "Just go inside." As Mama Nukwu passed, the air felt heavier, like the sky itself was holding its breath. A man carrying firewood paused at the junction, half raising his hand. "Good evening, Mama," he said. She didn't look at him. She only gave a small grunt and kept walking. He exhaled shakily. "God, please," he muttered, "let today pass in peace." On Sunday, when the church bell rang and the villagers gathered with their Bibles and hymn books, it was this same woman they pretended not to see but could not stop watching. She sat at the back, on the last wooden bench, hands folded around her staff, eyes half closed. No one dared sit beside her. The pastor's voice echoed. "Brethren, greet your neighbor in the name of the Lord." People turned, shook hands, hugged. The space around Mama Nukwu remained empty. The pastor glanced toward the back, his voice faltering for a moment. We thank God for all the elders in our midst," he forced a smile. "May the Lord continue to keep us from evil." "Amen," the congregation replied, some a little too loudly. After service, people rushed out in clusters, whispering. "I heard she doesn't sleep at night," one woman said. "My neighbor's child was sick for weeks," another replied in Igbo, voice trembling. "Mama Nukwu stood at their gate one evening. The next day the boy woke up strong. Tell me how." "Abeg, don't involve me," a man cut in. "Miracle or no miracle, something is not right." While they spoke, Mama Nukwu remained seated, waiting until most had left. She rose slowly, gripping her staff, and walked out alone. That night, when Okija fell into its usual hush, generators switching off one by one, babies finally sleeping. Only one house at the very edge kept a small lamp burning. Inside, Mama Nukwu sat on a low stool, staring at the flame. "So you still want to fight tonight?" she murmured. "You people can never rest." Her voice was rough with age but steady. She closed her eyes. The tiny flame on the lantern stretched, then shivered. Outside, the wind picked up suddenly, rustling the plantain leaves behind her hut. Dogs barked in different compounds, then went quiet all at once. From the forest, something moved that wasn't animal. She rose. As she stepped out, the air turned sharp, like the moment before lightning. On the path leading into the village, a dark shape formed, tall and thin, stretching like smoke. "I warned you people," she said quietly. "Okija is not for sale." The shape laughed, a sound like dry leaves grinding together. Another shape slid out of the shadows, then another. 3 in total. "Old woman," a voice sighed, "you are still standing between us and our harvest." "I made an oath," she replied. "I will stand between you and these people until the ground rejects my bones." "You also made an oath with us," the voice reminded her. "Have you forgotten the night under the silk cotton tree? The blood, the circle?" "Amosu does not forget." "I remember everything," she said. "That is why I am still here." The shadows rushed at her. From the village, no one saw it. No one heard her staff strike the ground with a booming sound that never touched human ears. No one saw the way the air twisted, how invisible claws raked her arms, how she staggered and still refused to fall. They only turned in their sleep, frowning, sensing something they could not explain. By the time the first cock crowed, Mama Nukwu was back in her hut, sweat soaking her wrapper, breathing hard. She wiped a thin line of blood from her lip and laughed bitterly. "So you people have increased," she muttered. 3 in one night." Her hands shook as she reached for the calabash beside her bed. She drank a mouthful of water slowly. Far away, in another part of Okija, a young woman named Onyinye sat up in bed, pressing a hand to her chest. Her heart was racing for no reason. "Jesus," she whispered. "What is this?" Her room was small, with just a narrow bed, a stool, and a faded picture of her late husband on the wall. She looked at his face in the dim light. "Chima, if you can hear me," she murmured, "tell God to remember me. Even if it is only peace I can get, let me rest." She swung her legs off the bed, wincing as her feet touched the cold floor. In the tiny sitting room, she lit a candle and knelt. "Father, I am tired," she prayed, voice breaking. "Since Chima died, life just closed. No child, no husband, no job. Are you still seeing me? Or have you forgotten?" Tears slid down her cheeks. She wiped them with the back of her hand. "I don't even know what I am praying again," she said softly. Just help me." As she stood, a strange warmth spread through her abdomen, so gentle she almost missed it. She frowned, placing a hand on her belly. "What is this now?" she whispered. She waited, but the feeling passed. With a sigh, she blew out the candle and went back to bed, not knowing something had shifted quietly beyond her understanding. Morning came. Women hit mortars, men shouted greetings, children chased each other, ignoring calls to come and bathe. Onyinye swept the front of her house. Her neighbor, Nkem, walked past with a basin on her head. "Onyinye," Nkem called. "You look tired. Are you okay?" "I'm fine," Onyinye forced a smile. "Maybe I didn't sleep well." "You should eat," Nkem said. "This your body is always looking like Breeze can carry you." Onyinye laughed weakly. "If Breeze carries me, maybe I will finally rest." "God forbid," Nkem snapped, then softened. "Abeg, take care of yourself. I will bring you some soup later." As Nkem walked away, Onyinye paused, pressing a hand to her stomach again. There it was, that soft warmth, like a tiny hand pressing back from inside. Her heart skipped. "No," she whispered. "It's not possible." Onyinye sat on the edge of her bed, hands shaking. She pressed her palm harder to her abdomen, waiting, listening, terrified of the silence that followed. "It's not possible," she whispered again, voice trembling. "How will it be possible? Chima has been gone for 3 years." The warmth came again, gentle, like someone placing a warm cloth on her stomach from the inside. She gasped and stood abruptly. "No, no, no!" She paced the room. "I cannot be pregnant. Who will be the father? What will I tell people? What kind of shame is this again?" Her throat tightened. She grabbed her wrapper and hurried outside, feet slapping against the dusty ground. There was only one person she could ask. One person who knew strange things. One person who terrified her more than childbirth itself. Mama Nukwu. She reached the narrow path at the edge of the village, and froze. What if the rumors were true? What if the woman dealt with spirits? What if this strange sensation was her doing? Her legs wanted to run back, but her heart pulled her forward. She took a deep breath and stepped onto the path. When she reached the hut, she hesitated again. The door was half open. A thin line of smoke curled out. "Mama Nukwu?" she called softly. No answer. "Mama, please, are you inside?" The old woman's voice floated out, dry and calm. "Enter." Onyinye swallowed hard and stepped in. The hut smelled of herbs and smoke. Mama Nukwu sat on her stool, staff leaning against her leg, eyes half closed. "What do you want?" she asked without looking up. Onyinye opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Her voice came out shaking. "Mama, something is wrong with my body." Mama Nukwu lifted her gaze slowly, her eyes sharp and unreadable. "Wrong how?" "I feel something," Onyinye whispered. "Inside me. Something warm, like life," Mama Nukwu said simply. Onyinye blinked. "What?" "Come closer," Mama Nukwu said. Every instinct told her to run, but Onyinye stepped forward. Mama Nukwu reached out a thin hand and placed it on her belly. Onyinye jumped at the unexpected coldness. The old woman closed her eyes. For a long moment, the hut was silent. Then Mama Nukwu drew in a sharp breath and snatched her hand away, as if burned. Onyinye staggered back. "Mama, what is it? What's happening to me?" Mama Nukwu stared at her, voice a low whisper. "Leave this place." "Please tell me," Onyinye cried. "I'm scared." "Leave!" Mama Nukwu snapped, slamming her staff against the floor. The whole hut vibrated. Onyinye jumped and stumbled toward the door. "Don't tell anyone what you felt," Mama Nukwu said. "Not yet." "But why?" "Because the world is not ready to know what is inside you." Onyinye fled, her heart pounding. Behind her, Mama Nukwu sank back onto her stool, pressing a trembling hand to her chest. "It has begun," she whispered. "Chuka, the child of light." Outside, the wind circled the hut like invisible fingers. That night, Mama Nukwu did not sleep. She sat on her stool, eyes fixed on the small lantern flame. The room felt smaller, heavier, as if the air itself knew something monumental had shifted. She muttered into the silence. "Amosu Circle, you will come again tonight. You can smell the prophecy." The lantern flickered violently. She stood. Meanwhile, in her small house, Onyinye lay awake, staring at the ceiling. The warmth inside her belly pulsed gently, as though the child, if it was a child, already knew her thoughts. "Oh God," she whispered, tears pooling. "What kind of thing is happening to me?" A soft knock came at her door. She jerked up. "Who is there?" Silence. Another knock, firmer. She froze. "Please go," she called, voice cracking. "I am sleeping." The knock echoed a third time. Before she could scream, a familiar voice whispered from outside. "Onyinye, open the door. It's me, Nkem." Onyinye rushed forward and pulled the door open. Nkem stood there holding a small bowl covered with cloth. "You didn't eat all day," Nkem said softly. "I brought the soup I promised." Onyinye forced a weak smile. "Thank you. God will bless you." But Nkem frowned, studying her face. "Are you crying? What happened?" "Nothing," Onyinye lied. "I'm just tired." Nkem stepped inside, placed the bowl down, and held her hands. "Talk to me. I am your friend." Onyinye shook her head violently. "No, I can't talk. Not now. Please." Nkem hesitated, clearly worried. "Okay. But if anything happens, call me, even if it's midnight." When she left, Onyinye shut the door and slid to the floor, sobbing into her hands. The warmth inside her pulsed again. "Mama Nukwu knows something," she whispered. "And God, if this thing is not from you, then please, please remove it." At the edge of the village, Mama Nukwu stepped outside her hut. The night was too quiet, the forest too still. "They are here," she whispered. A thin mist crawled across the ground. Dark forms emerged, tall, boneless, shifting like smoke. "Old woman," a voice hissed. "You have sensed it." "I have," she said, and you cannot have him. Give us the seed now, the voice hissed, before it becomes flame. You cannot stop a prophecy, Mama Nukwu spat. You can only die trying. The shapes circled her. Then we will die, they whispered, but we will not die alone. They lunged. The battle tore through the night invisibly. Her staff clashed with nothing and everything at once. The ground trembled. A spiritual wind ripped at her wrapper, pulling at her hair, clawing her skin. Her breath came in sharp gasps. Inside her hut, something smashed. A pot. Then another. But she held her ground. You will not touch that child, she growled. A shadow formed behind her, lifting a spectral hand. A sharp bolt of darkness shot from its palm, straight toward her chest. Mama Nukwu spun, slammed her staff to the earth, and a shockwave exploded outward, tearing the shadow in half. It shrieked and vanished. The others retreated, shaking. This is only the beginning, one whispered. Before the 10th moon, Okija will burn. Mama Nukwu stood panting, body trembling with exhaustion. She whispered, You people will not win. By morning, her hut was a mess. Broken pots, torn mats, scattered herbs. She sat weakly, leaning on her staff. Onyinye, meanwhile, woke with a start. Her pillow was wet with sweat, her body trembling. She placed a hand on her stomach. The warmth pulsed back, stronger than before. No. This cannot be happening. She staggered to her feet, grabbed her wrapper, and ran outside. I must see Mama Nukwu, she whispered. I must know the truth. She didn't notice the strange glow that flashed beneath her skin as she ran. She didn't know that the prophecy had already taken root. She didn't know that every spirit in the Amosu circle had tasted her scent last night. And she didn't know that Mama Nukwu, bleeding and exhausted, was waiting for her. Because the real battle was only beginning. Mama Nukwu was sitting outside her hut when Onyinye arrived, breathless and shaking. The old woman looked weaker than Onyinye had ever seen her. One side of her wrapper was soaked with dried blood. Her staff rested heavily across her lap. Mama, Onyinye whispered, terrified. Please tell me what is happening to me. Mama Nukwu raised her eyes slowly. They were tired. Tired in a way that made Onyinye's heart drop. Sit, the old woman said. Onyinye knelt instead. Mama, I'm begging you. What is this thing inside me? Mama Nukwu stared at her stomach, at the faint, almost invisible light pulsing under Onyinye's skin. She exhaled shakily. You are carrying a child, she said, but not an ordinary child. Onyinye froze. That is impossible. It is not impossible, Mama Nukwu said. It is destiny. Onyinye grabbed her own arms, shaking her head. Mama, how can I be carrying a child? I have not been with any man. That is why the child is feared, Mama Nukwu replied. He was not planted by flesh. He was planted by prophecy. Onyinye felt the ground tilt under her. So, what does it mean? What will happen to me? Mama Nukwu looked at her with something close to pity. It means the Amosu circle will come for you, and for the child. They will not stop. Onyinye's hands flew to her mouth. Jesus Christ! Mama, what do I do? You will do nothing, Mama Nukwu said, gripping her staff and forcing herself to stand. I will do everything. But you're hurt, Onyinye said, voice breaking. You're bleeding. This wound is small, Mama Nukwu whispered. The real wound will come when they realize their darkness cannot overcome the child of light. A gust of cold air swept through the path. Leaves rustled violently. The sky dimmed, though it was morning. Mama Nukwu stiffened. They are close. Onyinye grabbed her arm. Mama, I'm scared. Fear is normal, Mama Nukwu replied. Stay behind me. A shadow formed near the giant udala tree, stretching long and unnatural across the ground. Onyinye gasped. Mama Nukwu raised her staff. Amosu! She shouted. Come out! 3 figures emerged, women with hollow faces and eyes like dying embers, their voices layered as one. Give us the child. You cannot have him, Mama Nukwu said. Step aside, the witches hissed. Over my dead body. They rushed her at once. The battle was silent to human ears, but thunderous in spirit. Mama Nukwu slammed her staff down, sending a shockwave that cracked the earth. Light burst from her palms. Shadows tore at her skin. Onyinye screamed as one witch lunged toward her belly, but Mama Nukwu threw herself between them, taking the blow square in the chest. She staggered. Blood filled her mouth. Mama! Onyinye cried. Mama Nukwu fell to her knees, clutching her staff. You will not touch him, she gasped. A blinding light exploded from her body, white, pure, fierce. It washed over the witches. Their screams filled the air as their forms dissolved, scattering like ash in the wind. The light faded. Mama Nukwu collapsed. Onyinye crawled to her side, sobbing. Mama, please don't die. Please. The old woman smiled weakly. My work is finished. No, no. Onyinye shook her head violently. You saved me. You saved us. You can't go. Mama Nukwu lifted a trembling hand to Onyinye's cheek. Protect him. Raise him well. He is light in a dark world. Her hand dropped. Her body dissolved softly into ash. Only her staff remained. Onyinye screamed into the empty air, clutching the staff, rocking back and forth. Behind her belly, Chuka's light pulsed once. Soft, gentle, alive. Somewhere in the unseen world, Mama Nukwu's voice whispered, Light is a duty, not a reward. If you enjoyed this story, remember to like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe so you never miss the next one.